What is going on, faithful? It's your boy Nick 49er Faithful 365 all day, every day here on a Nothing But Niners podcast. As always, guys, today I'm just joined by myself, but we're going to hit over this crossover edition, man. I got my guy Doug here, and we're going to bring him in just a second. If you didn't, or if you don't already, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button here on the YouTube channel and follow us on all of our social media avenues. That's Twitter, Snapchat, Instagram, Facebook, SoundCloud, iTunes, TuneIn, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Google Play, wherever you listen to your podcast app, man. We're there all the time. Go over there, hit that like and subscribe button, and give us a good rating as well. And without further ado, guys, we're going to dig into this Week 5 Miami Dolphins, San Francisco 49ers matchup, and I'm going to bring in my guy, Doug. Doug, what's going on, man?
What's up, Nick? How you doing, bud?
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. Look, man, I want to thank you once again for having me on your platform, man, and then now coming over to ours as well. It's a pleasure to have you guys. It's a great thing that we got going on with FTFN. If you guys haven't already, make sure you guys go over there and follow that Fan to Fan Network. Check it out on the website. It's all 32 teams over there, all the top ambassadors filling in for their teams there. And you get a lot of good knowledge over there, a lot of great guys, all very knowledgeable guys, and some of them are just hilarious. So if you want to go watch some of their channels, man, big shout out to those guys as well. And you guys already know that we had Arizona on, we had Kid Blue on, we've had a bunch of different, the Jets, Ian from Jet Central, and now we're doing Dougly Do Wrong, man. Dougly Do Wrong is on YouTube as well. So Doug, give us a little backstory, man, who you are, where you're from, and how you became a Dolphins fan.
So my name is Dougly Do Wrong. I'm actually up in Jersey, not in Florida. A lot of people think that I am, down in Florida, being that I got all this Dolphin stuff around me. Nope, I'm actually up in Jersey. Been a Dolphins fan since 95 when I was 6-7 years old. So I've been a Dolphins fan for about 25 years. Lots of pain. But been a Dolphins fan my whole entire life. Loved the team. Started the channel because I noticed that, mainstream media, every time the Dolphins would win, they would talk about how the other team lost, not how the Dolphins won. So I was tired of it, and I'd like to interact, and I'd always want to be like, how are other Dolphin fans reacting to this win-loss? Started the channel 2 years ago and haven't looked back ever since.
Nice. Well, make sure you guys go over there and hit that like and subscribe button on youtube.com/Dougly Do Wrong. All right, so guys, go over there and hit him up. And Anthony McLean says, nice setup, Dougie Do Wrong. There we go. So look, our fans will give you some love in here. You may get some hate as well, but that's how it is. The Niners fans are really good overall. But man, look, this week, you guys are coming off a loss last week, a battle back and forth with the Seattle Seahawks, I believe, right?
Yep.
A banged up defense there as well. Let's dig into this injury report real quick, and let's go with the final injury report and what is going to happen with the Dolphins, who's going to play, who's not. Fill us in on a little bit of what's going on in Dolphin land.
So, unfortunately, the Dolphins' 18th pick overall, Austin Jackson, is going to IR. He hurt his ankle in the game against Seattle, came back in, finished the game out. I don't know if that aggravated a little bit more to put him on IR. I'm hoping it's just the 3-week IR, being that they have that special new IR because of what's going on now. I'm hoping it's just the 3-week, but yes, the Dolphins will be without their starting left tackle that came, I think, a few days ago. So we'll see how they shift the line around. If, Robert Hunt's going to be in there, the rookie playing right tackle. Interesting to see that. Also, Shaq Lawson hurt his shoulder in the game when he got a sack on Russell Wilson. He will be out. That really sucks. He's one of our pass rushers. I really needed him in there. He will be out. And our backup tight end, Durham Smythe, who is a good blocking tight end, he will also be out with a knee injury. So we're missing two big guys in Shaq Lawson and Austin Jackson. Durham Smythe isn't that big of a loss for us, but he is a good blocking tight end, so it's going to affect the run game a little bit. But yeah, just three guys out. Byron Jones, our starting corner, hopefully is going to be back. He had full practice all week, and I'm hoping he's back.
Yeah, and you guys got Xavier Howard back now, right, as well. If you were to say the most important injury that you have that's not playing, would it be Shaq Lawson or would it be your starting left tackle?
I think it would be the starting left tackle, just because I'm not a big fan of Davenport, who is our backup left tackle. So I don't know what they're going to do. They haven't really made an announcement if they're going to take Jesse Davis, who's our right tackle, put him at left tackle, and then put Robert Hunt in there at right tackle. So it's going to be a little shifting around on the offensive line, which kind of sucks. But I think they've been prepared for it since probably Monday. So they know what they're doing. But I think with Austin Jackson being out, it's a big hit for the Dolphins.
Right. So, guys, Niners fans, that's something. Look, I thought Shaq Lawson was going to be playing in this game. So that's big news for us as Niners fans. Obviously, we know how our offensive line has been playing the last few weeks. Obviously, we got a Mike McGlinchey and a Trent Williams on the outsides. Pro Bowl player in Trent Williams, all-pro guy. But he didn't have a very good game last week. So is he going to have that bounce-back game? And this actually kind of helps us a little bit with Shaq Lawson off the field. So that's news there, guys, bringing it to you live and indirect here from Dougly Do Wrong. So that's news to us. Look, the Niners injury report, it looks like Jimmy Garoppolo is the named starter, so he will be back and playing this week. Raheem Mostert still listed as questionable. Won't really know if he's going to play until game time, basically be a game time decision. The 49ers did make some roster moves today. They did call up Jabbar Taylor to play nickel corner because K'Wan Williams is headed to the IR along with Ziggy Ansah. And we talked about these injuries before. But Taylor's coming up. And then obviously a guy that's been around the league and knows Kyle Shanahan's system was not promoted, but brought up from the practice squad this week to fill out that 55. And Kevin White, right? So there's another interesting signing that you guys made, and I want to get your take on it real quick. Running back Salvin Ahmed. The Niners are a guy that brought him in as an undrafted guy. He was one of my big guys coming out of college. How does he fit into your offense, or does he at all this week? I mean, obviously he's a rookie, but
it's very interesting because we had him on the practice squad. We kept making him one of the 4 protected practice squad players, and then they promoted him. And when he got promoted this week, a lot of people were like, well, who's going to go? And that's when Austin Jackson went to IR. Very, very, very interesting because now the Dolphins are running with, I think, 5 or 6 running backs. They got Jordan Howard. They have Myles Gaskin. They have Breida. They have Patrick Laird. Now they have Ahmed. And they also have Lynn Bowden Jr. listed as a running back. So they have 6 running backs active right now on the team. I don't know what they're doing with them, but I'm hearing that they really like him. I'm hearing that the reason they brought him up and the reason they made the moves is he's doing really well in practice. And because the Dolphins need some help in the running game. They can't just rely on Myles Gaskin and Breida. They need a little bit more help, being that we haven't had a leading rusher go over 100 yards since 2018 December. So
yeah, it's been a while. Look, Salvin Ahmed is one of those guys who's an all-around back, right? He can catch the football out of the backfield. He can run you over like a bowling ball type of player. He kind of reminds me of Matt Breida, but he's more of a physical back compared to Matt Breida, right? So he's shifty, he's fast, but Matt Breida doesn't have that oomph in him, right? That I'm going to plow you over type of thing. Do you see him taking any snaps this week?
Yeah, I actually do. I think he might take more snaps than Jordan Howard is. Jordan Howard seems, they tried to get him some snaps, not in the red zone, and it didn't work. So I wouldn't be surprised if he gets more snaps. And if all of a sudden like Laird and somebody else is inactive for Sunday's game, just to get him out there and get him some work. They probably have something in the works.
Yeah,
we don't know what it is, but they got something.
Yeah, it'll definitely be interesting to see what they do with him. I'm actually kind of excited to see him. We were just talking on our show earlier that we think that, when these players go up against their former teams, they usually try to implement them a little bit more just to give them that little extra oomph. Do you see Matt Breida getting more than 7 to 12 carries this week?
I think he definitely should, if not just carries, some receptions, because we saw it against Seattle. Fitz dropped the ball off to him about 5 yards off the line of scrimmage, and he made that into a 30-yard, reception. But you guys already know how he does that stuff. He needs to get a little bit more snaps, more carries, more receptions. See the difference though between him and Gaskin. Gaskins is breaking tackles, and that's the reason he's getting most of the carries, because the offensive line is still struggling a little bit on the run blocking. So to get a guy in there who could break tackles is huge. So that's why Gaskin's getting a little bit more. But I totally expect Breida, especially like you said, this week against his old team, to get some more carries.
All right. So the question that all 49ers fans are waiting to hear, the answer to this question. the 49ers struggle against pocket mobility quarterbacks who can get outside the pocket. Do the Dolphins implement Tua into your offense this week against the 49ers defense?
It depends on Fitz. If Fitz starts to have a tragic game, you might see Tua out there because it's going to be a big hampering on the season if the Dolphins go 1-3, 1-4, 3. I don't even know what our record is.
1-4.
But yeah, it depends on Fitz. If Fitz, starts to struggle, it's a possibility. Brian Flores came out and he made that press conference where he said he's not ready and this and that. We all know how coaches are. They like to blow smoke. So, I wouldn't believe half of the things he says. So don't be surprised if all of a sudden they're like, screw it, go out there, see what you can do to it.
And that's why I'm trying to see, I'm trying to decide if they're going to utilize him, whether it's 1 or 2 plays, a quarter, just bringing him out. We've seen it a lot last week in a couple games where, they brought in, Philadelphia brought in Jalen Hurts and lined up Wentz as a receiver. Just try to implement him into the game a little bit. So it'll be interesting to see what they do there. What position or matchup are you most looking forward to this weekend?
I want to see Devontae Parker go up against your starting corner, whoever that might be that's going to line up against him. Same thing with Mike Gesicki. Last week, Seattle did a very good job of doubling him and just shutting him out of the game, which was huge. Gesicki before that was leading it in receptions and getting open down the field. I'm really interested to see what the Dolphins passing game can do against your banged up secondary. If you get Fitz some time to throw and let these plays develop, it's going to be super dangerous and high scoring game.
Yeah, last week when they matched the Seattle Seahawks, who have very poor defensive backs, their secondary is not playing well at all. It was a shootout. It was a shootout. Who can throw the ball the furthest? Who's going to get the biggest play? And it was back to back and back, pound for pound on each side of the football. The most interesting position that I'm looking forward to this week is I'm a little nervous about that. The receivers that you have in Preston Williams and Devontae Parker, just those 2 guys alone going up against our banged up secondary. I'm looking forward to the trenches. And the trenches for me this week is because when you get on to Ryan Fitzpatrick and you get pressure on him, he will make some silly throws. That's just who he is. There's times he fumbles with, the football as well. And I think that is going to be a big turning point of this game. I think we'll be able to move the football on you guys defensively, against your defense. But how well does our down lineman play? And is it, we know that last week we had 2 sacks, I believe, 3 sacks, sorry. And pressure was there, but Carson Wentz could get out the pocket. How is this defensive line going to contain Ryan Fitzpatrick? Because just like you just said a minute ago, that's something the 49ers need to do this week. As in, if you give him time to either escape the pocket and make a throw, outside of the pocket, it's going to be a long day for the 49ers secondary.
Yeah, and Fitz, he's like 400 years old, and a lot of people, well, he's 37. He's not 400, but a lot of people underestimate that man's legs. Now, I made a joke on Twitter. I've never seen someone run so fast and slow at the same time. And I think that's what gets a lot of people is, he'll start moving and then and then he'll just slowly move a certain way and people start to miss the tackles. So when he starts to roll out to his right or to his left, a lot of people underestimate he can boogie and then he could throw it. He can get some accuracy on that. So I expect, especially with Austin Jackson being out, I expect a lot of rollouts maybe to the right side, being that the left tackle is going to be out. Give him some more time, maybe some pitches that way, handoffs in the opposite direction, get away from whoever is going to be coming at him on his blind side. But also don't be surprised if Lynn Bowden Jr. starts taking some snaps at quarterback, really start to mess with your head a little bit there.
Yeah, that's interesting that you say that with Lynn Bowden Jr., right? Lynn Bowden Jr. is a guy who is very shifty as well with the ball in his hands. So that's something to, you guys got that in Tua, you got that in Lynn Bowden Jr. You got those moving pieces. And like you said, with Ryan Fitzpatrick, keep the guy contained and put pressure on him. You can win a football game. But if you give him all, he's just like Russell Wilson too. You give him, not play wise, but you give him the time, he's going to eat you apart. And that's what Ryan Fitzpatrick has done so far in this league in all his years here. If there's no pressure on him, he's going to make the throws that he needs to make. If you put the pressure on him, he's going to crumble. And that's usually what it is with him. So let me ask you this. What do the Dolphins need to do to win this football game other than score more points?
John Madden, you got to score more points. They need to play mistake-free. I've noticed that a lot. A lot of the times the Dolphins will shoot themselves in the foot. Seattle, they could have easily won that game if Noah didn't, kind of run into his own guy and let the wide receiver go deep and then didn't let Moore catch that touchdown. Could have really been in it. There was a lot of plays that were just there. Same thing with the Bills game. Kyle Van Noy, Eric Rowe, and Xavier Howard, all three of them dropped interceptions. Dolphins could have very easily won that Bills game too. Completely different. 3-1 versus 1-3, completely different team. But it's the mistakes. It still shows that they're the second youngest team in the NFL right now. They're still growing. No offseason, no preseason. Those mistakes are key. Also, going off of what I'm saying, you got to take advantage of the mistakes that the other team makes. You got to take what is given to you. So if we get an interception, if the ball hits you in the hands, get it. If you don't get a pick six, the offense needs to score touchdowns. Can't be kicking 5 field goals against the 49ers, against the whole NFC West. That division is dangerous. So we got to take advantage of what's given to us, and you can't make mistakes. And there's a good chance Dolphins can pull this one off.
Yeah. So with that, I think personally, obviously the turnover battle is huge in all games, right? If whoever wins the turnover battle normally wins the football game, right? And I only say normally because we had 5 turnovers last year in our home opener against the Pittsburgh Steelers, and we still somehow won that game. So I'm saying normally because the percentage is definitely higher if you win the turnover battle. A lot of people don't talk about this, but I want to get your thought on it. Your special teams. Mm-hmm. How has your special teams been with field position as well as your field goal kicking?
Field goal kicker, I'm superstitious, Nick, so I'm just going to say, that's all I'm going to say.
Okay. I'm superstitious as hell too, though, so it's okay. I understand.
I'm not saying anything about him. The punter been pinning people. He's been pinning people within the 10, sometimes even within the 5. Our special teams is doing really well. The return aspect of it, we have Jakeem Grant back there. He's questionable in this game. I'm hoping he practices. He didn't practice Friday with an illness. I'm hoping he just play. But whenever he gets the ball in his hands, it's dangerous having him as a kick returner back there. He's got that speed to take it to the house if you give him that lane. But the thing also with Jakeem Grant is he double catches those punts sometimes and makes my heart drop. So when it comes to the kicking aspect, Dolphins are pretty good. They're pretty good when it comes to the kicking aspect. When it comes to the returning aspect, you give him the chance, he'll take it, but he likes to make me a little too nervous.
It's interesting because on the punt returns, you're saying, watch out, it makes you a little nervous type thing. We have a guy named Mitch Wisnowski who's our punter, and he's an Australian. He's an Aussie. But the way that he kicks the football, the different types of movement that he has on his ball tends to give a kick return or a punt returner a little bit of trouble going for the football, right? So he also is a guy that can pin you deep. We haven't seen much of that from him this year. He's had some bad punts, but he's also has some really good punts. But a lot of people don't talk about the special teams aspect, and it's one of the biggest parts of the game. It's one of the biggest parts of the game. So obviously our kick returning has not been crazy stellar this year, right? Now, a lot of teams, since the ball's been placed at, you're most of the kickoffs are going out of the end zone. Nobody's really returning them anymore for safety reasons. But the punting is where it gets into a little bit of okay, let's see what's going to happen here. Because field position wins game most of the time if you can capitalize and execute. So biggest thing that our special teams, I'm not sure. Richie James was activated off of the IR. They opened that 3-week window for him to practice. Not sure if he's going to be playing or if he's not, or if he's going to play or not yet. It hasn't really been seen. So we have Trent Taylor and Dante Pettis back there right now. Both guys that for us are like, what are you going to do? Like, you don't have that special oomph.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So they're very, very vague when it comes to that. So, and then obviously we have Robbie Gould. I'm not going to touch on kicking because I'm not going to blast anything or say anything as well, because I need, if we get that field goal, we need the field goal. So, I'm very superstitious like you as well. All right. So moving on from special teams, give me a prediction on your, and I do this over under theme on our show. And if you want to partake, we'll just do one quick over or under. And I'll ask you over or under 300 yards passing for Ryan Fitzpatrick.
See, there's a hope and there's a prediction. The hope is under. And that's because we got the running game finally going and he's barely throwing it. But if I'm putting money on it, I'm going over. And it might not even be a lot over. It might be like 315.
Okay.
But I'm going to go over. I think that with Austin Jackson being out and your secondary being as beat up, I think they'll start to attack you guys through the air.
Okay. Now, does your offensive line, with your starting left tackle being out, are you worried a little bit about the defensive front in San Francisco, even with the injuries being depleted?
A little bit, yeah. Especially, well, not necessarily in the middle, because Karras, Flowers, and Kinley have been actually doing really well. I think all season they've allowed like 12 pressures, and they've been doing really well in the centers. It's on the outsides that kind of worry me. So I don't know who's going to be playing left tackle, but the Dolphins, when it comes to the offensive line ranking in passing, is 11th in the NFL. We've only given up, I think it was 5 or 6 sacks, which is a huge improvement from last season. But we're ranked 25th in the NFL in run blocking. So it's like a huge disparity. So when it comes to passing, I'm a little confident, but again, we'll see who's playing left tackle. But yeah.
The 49ers, and then we'll get out of here, but the 49ers are ranked 3rd in pass defense right now. Oh, wow. Even with our banged up corners. Now, that doesn't say too much as into teams we've played. So This is a testament right here to me. I said this on our show the other night. This is a testament of, you're getting the yards. We're only allowing, I think, 184 yards per game passing, right? The way they've been attacking us is the run game. So this is something we need to shut down with a Myles Gaskin, a Jordan Howard, a Salvin Ahmed, a Matt Breida, those type of guys. And Matt Breida has been known for fumbles. So I'm hoping that, we can punch that football out. But all right, so look, we've covered injuries, we've covered special teams, we've covered what we're looking for in this game, man. Who do you got? What do you got? And who wins this football game?
Well, your chat's about to blow up. I honestly think it's going to be, the Dolphins, they've been facing really, really good, talented teams. Their first 4 games are tough. Going against New England, going against the 5th-ranked offense in the Buffalo Bills, going against the 2nd-ranked offense in the Seattle Seahawks. Every single one of those games, they were in it. There was, like I said, few mistakes here and there that kind of took it away from them, but always by 3. Always by 3 or 4, they were in it. I'm actually going to say that the Dolphins pull this one off. Their only win of the season was out on away. So I think the Dolphins are going to pull this one off on a 28-24 victory.
28-24. Okay. I had the Niners scoring what on your show? 28-17, I believe I said. Since then, I think that it stays in that range, maybe 28-21 type game. I think it's a closer game than we expect, man. But look, it's gonna be an interesting game. It's gonna be, like you said, battle of who can keep the ball clean, not turnover, field position, obviously in all football games, and what kind of game does Ryan Fitzpatrick have?
Yep.
Because this really boils down to Ryan Fitzpatrick. The same with the 49ers and Jimmy Garoppolo. Yep. Coming back from an injury, Ryan Fitzpatrick obviously is Ryan Fitzpatrick. You give him time to throw. Look, this game can go either way for both sides. It can either be up here or it can be right here.
Yep.
And it's just a matter, I think, really turnovers and how Ryan Fitzpatrick plays. But Doug, man, it's been a pleasure always getting you on, man. It's a great thing to we got going on over there at FTFN Network. So I appreciate you for coming on, man. I don't like your prediction too much, but it's okay. It's okay. Look, in the end, hopefully the Niners win, obviously. But I also hope that we both come out clean and healthy, no injuries. Because look, when you get injuries and you get into second, third, fourth levels of your team, it's harder to watch your football team. It's harder to keep staying in with the NFL because it's just so, oh my God, so many injuries. But hopefully everybody comes out, knock on wood, true wood, and hopefully everybody comes out without injuries, man. Guys, if this is your first time here, make sure you guys go over, or you're just first tuning in. Appreciate the Dolphins fans that are in here. Love all the faithful. Go over there, hit that like and subscribe on Dougly Do Wrong on YouTube. Other than that, man, you got any final thoughts, Doug?
No, man, it was a pleasure coming on. Guys were super respectful in the chat. I'm glad no one attacked me too hard. But yeah, it was a pleasure. I love the 49ers. I love teams with great histories, and the 49ers have one of the greatest histories out there. So appreciate it, man. And this won't be the last time.
Yeah, appreciate it, man. Guys, right there, youtube.com/Dougly Do Wrong. Go over there and hit that like and subscribe button. And above all else, stay faithful. We out of here. Peace.